Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. A pleasant day to each and everyone. So let us continue our discussion for CHN 2. So we have here the chapter 7, which talks about the nursing process and the care of the community. So we all know yung nursing process. What is a nursing process? Again, it is a systematic method, okay, in prioritizing and planning and establishing needs and solutions for the needs of our patient, right? So the implementation of nursing process, however, is very different depending on the setting. Okay? Pag sa hospital kasi, usually client-centered ka or patient-centered ka. Dito sa community, hindi lang kasi yung client mo. You have different levels of clientele, di ba? We have 4 levels of clientele. Mapa-individual, mapa-family man yan, mapa-group man yan, or a community itself. So, doon nagva-vary yung pag-implement natin ng nursing process kumbaga. Ang pinagkaiba lang talaga nung dalawa is yung target natin ng mga clients, okay? Pero yung mga processes naman or yung mga phases, pare-pareho pa rin. So again, we have the 5 phases. We have the mnemonics na ADPI, the assessment, the diagnosing, the planning, implementation, and evaluation. So dito sa chapter na to, isa-isahin natin kung ano ba yung ginagawa during the assessment process, okay? The diagnosing, the planning, the implementation, and evaluation. Okay? So the community health nurses' aim is to improve the health status of the community in general. So yun naman talaga yung gusto nating gawin. Okay? Just in other fields of nursing practice, care of the community is undertaken utilizing the nursing process in a cyclical process of assessment, diagnosis, planning, and intervention and evaluation. To the nurse, the community is not just a setting or the context for providing community health nursing. It is the focus of your nursing care. Kaya nga nasabing community health nursing kasi yun yung focus mo, okay? So, it is the focus of your nursing care. To the community health nurse, understanding the meaning of community is a prerequisite. So, kailangan na alam natin kung ano ba talaga yung community. So, ito yung mga different definitions, okay, na nasabi natin dito sa previously, okay, diniscuss natin ano yung mga definitions ng community. The community have common interests or characteristics. They interact with one another, have a sense of unity or belonging, and function collectively within a defined social structure to address common concerns. So, a community may be phenomenological or geopolitical. Pag sabihin natin phenomenological is it is also a functional community or geopolitical or territorial community. So, a school is phenomenological kasi ang function ng school is to give education. So, yung community doon, yung mga students doon, pwede natin silang tawagin as school community. And then, yung mga barangay is a geopolitical type of community because it has a government, kumbaga na nag-govern within the community itself. So, we have here the different principles of community health nursing. Okay? So, for the care of the community, the nurse must bear in mind the following principles adopted from the 8 principles of public health nursing. The first one is focus on the community as a unit of care. Okay? So, kailangan as a whole ang target mo na community. You will not choose doon sa 4 na level of clientele, pero dapat isa na sila as a whole. Next one is give priority to community needs. So the community health nurse has to marry skills in the nursing process which population focus skills to produce the greatest benefit for the majority of the community. Next one is work with community as an equal partner of the health team. Again, work with. Okay? Nag-work kayo together. Hindi sila dependent sa'yo. Number 4, in selecting appropriate activities, focus on primary prevention. Again, ano nga yung mga primary preventions natin? Okay? Andiyan dyan yung health education, okay? Promotion of health, preventing of diseases or illnesses. Hindi kasama dyan yung pag-cure natin because hindi siya kasama sa, hindi siya masyadong focus kasi ang gusto natin is to promote health. Kasi yung mga patient natin wala pang sakit. Okay? Next one is promote the healthful physical and psychosocial environment. So the health team designs strategies to concentrate on the environmental determinants of health, such as the education, socioeconomic status, physical environment, working conditions, and social support networks. Number 6, reach out to all who may benefit from a specific service. 'Di ba yung community health nursing hindi lang isang agency yung gumagalaw diyan. It is a linkages, okay? May iba-iba tayong mga kasama na pwedeng tumulong sa atin, okay? Next is promote optimum use of resources, okay? So limited health resources are best used for strategies that will produce long-term effects, taking ethical principles into consideration. Okay, and lastly, collaborate with others working in the community. Health is a product of multiple determinants. For this reason, the nurse has to work with a variety of sectors, including the community itself, in resolving issues that affect health. Okay? So we have here conditions in the community which affects health, okay? So a community has 3 features. So may tatlong features ang ating community. It has people, okay, the location, and the social system. So factors related to these features affect health status of the community. So paano ba sila itong mga features na to, paano nakakaapekto sa health ng overall na isang community? First one is the people. Population variables affect the health of the community include, okay, the size, sa dami ng population na meron ka. Density, the composition, madami ba sa community mo, babae, lalaki, mga bata, matatanda, okay, the mobility, the social class, and the educational level. So the population size and density influence the number and size of healthcare institution. This explains the concentration of healthcare institution in urban area. So pag madami, sapo lang natin kung madami yung or very populated yung community mo at yung health center mo ang liit naman hindi maka-cater. So, 'di ba? Kahit andyan yung mga resources mo, pero yung facility mo naman hindi enough para i-cater yung needs ng inyong community, hindi din maganda yung takbo ng pagpo-promote mo ng health sa community kasi syempre, may example lang, late, ay, hindi na ako dyan pupunta, parang wala naman ako makukuhang gamot dyan, ay, parang wala naman yung nurse dyan, lalo na kung nakalak lagi yung health center. So, nakakaapekto yun siya. And at the same time, 'di ba, the more populated yung isang place, the more na hindi napapansin yung mga tao, okay? Pero 'di ba, dapat din yung target natin. Isa sa mga criteria ng community na kinukuha natin is yung population nila. However nga lang talaga nakakaapekto siya when it comes to the health of the community as a whole. Next feature is the location. The health of the community is affected by both natural and man-made variables related to location. Natural factors consist of geographical features, the climate, the flora, and the fauna. Okay? So, yung mga saan banda yung community mo, kung malapit ba sa tabing dagat, syempre, madaming health threat dyan. Kasi pwedeng in times of tsunami, okay? Pwedeng masira yung communities, okay? Mga tornado, o lakas ng ulan, so pagbabahain, yan. So, nakakaapekto din yung location. Kasi, pwede nating gawin or ma-identify na yung location or the geographical location of your community is a threat to the people. Okay? Lalo na kung example, katabi ka ng bulkan, every now and then, pwedeng pumutok yan siya. So, health threat siya. Okay? So, next feature na pwedeng maka-affect din sa ating health status is a social system. A social system is a patterned series of interrelationship existing between individuals, groups, and institutions and forming a coherent whole. Social system components that affect health includes the family, economic, educational, communication, political, legal, religious, recreational, and health system. So, yung mga iba't ibang components na yun yung kasama sa ating social system that may affect. Okay, paano nakakaapekto yung family? Okay. Kung may sakit sa isang family member and then nahawaan niya yung ibang members and then as a whole, mahawaan din niya yung isang community. The economic, kung very poor ba yung mga tao sa community nyo, syempre pag very poor, hindi lahat ng resources kaya nilang bilhin. Okay? So, educational, yung level ba ng education doon, maganda ba? Ano yun? Marami bang mga tao na marunong magbasa? Okay, nakakaintindi. Kasi anong sense nung pag-educate mo sa mga tao kung hindi ka naman nila naintindihan? Okay? The communication. Nagkakaintindihan ba kayo? Baka ikaw, nagtatagalog na Tagalog ka, sila lahat Bisaya lang yung naiintindihan nila or lahat Tausug, Maranao, 'di ba? So we have political. Are they supported by their LGUs? May support pa coming from the local government. Okay? The legal, religious, okay, the recreational and health system. So, yun yung mga ilan sa mga, bakit nakakaapekto yung tatlong features na yon sa health ng community as a whole. So, we have here the characteristics of a healthy community. I think na-discuss na din natin to previously. Pero review lang natin ano ba yung mga paano nasasabi na healthy ang isang community. Di ba alam naman natin na healthy organism has all its body parts contributing to its well-being by carrying out their specific functions. In the same manner, all systems of a community need to function effectively and work together to maintain the health of the community. So, a healthy community has mechanisms that assure all citizens a decent way of life in all aspects. So, ano yung mga ilan sa mga traits or characteristics na masabi mo na, this community is a healthy? First, they have a shared sense of being a community based on history and values. Despite the presence of subgroups, members of the community have a feeling of belonging. So, alam ng mga members, kumbaga, they feel that they belong in that community because they have values and culture that surrounds them. Okay? Next is a general feeling of empowerment and control over matters that affect the community as a whole. Next, existing structures that allow subgroups within the community to participate in decision making in community matters. Next one, the ability to cope up with change, solve problems and manage conflicts within the community through acceptable means. So makita nyo, 'di ba? Lahat ng mga characteristic is mostly kumaga empowered yung community to make their own decisions and to decide what is good and what is wrong or bad for them. Okay? Next is open channels of communication and cooperation among the members of the community, and lastly, the equitable and efficient use of community resources with the view towards sustaining natural resources. So, a healthy community is in fact, in the context of health promotion defined in the Ottawa Charter, it is the process of enabling people to increase control over and to improve their health. Further, the Charter states that to reach a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, an individual or group must be able to identify and to realize aspirations, satisfy need, and to change or cope up with the environment. Health is therefore seen as a resource for everyday life, not the objective of living. And health is a positive concept emphasizing social and personal resources as well as physical capacities. Therefore, health promotion is not just the responsibility of the health sector but goes beyond healthy lifestyles to well-being. Okay? So, yun yung sinabi sa charter. Kumbaga na masasabi mo talaga ng isang community ay healthy if the members of the community can stand on their own, can make decisions on their own, at may control sila sa lahat ng matters na nangyayari sa kanilang community as a whole. So now, let's discuss na yung mga phases, okay? ng ating nursing process and ano ba yung mga activities na ginagawa natin per phases. So we have here the assessment or community assessment. So in assessment phase, 'di ba? Syempre you will gather data. Okay, you will have your community assessment. So the data that need to be collected depend on the objectives of community assessment. In general, the nurse needs to collect data on three categories of community health determinants, which is the people, the place, and the social system. Yung tatlong features na yon, kukuha ka ng data regarding that. So yung tao, okay, the geographical location, and their social system. So the community database for planned approach to community health, a community health planning model based on Green's PRECEDE model, which includes on the quantitative and qualitative. Since community participation is a premise of patch process, the community profile is used to ensure representation of all stakeholders in the building of the patch community team. So there are several approaches in conducting the community assessment. So the nurse utilizes the approach that is most appropriate to the community and the purpose of the community. So pwedeng it's either dalawang klase lang na meron tayong community assessment. A comprehensive need assessment or a problem oriented assessment. So, ito, na-discuss na to sa inyo din last sem, diba? Okay, so, nevertheless, i-review natin ulit. Pag sabihin natin comprehensive need assessment, the nurse gathers information about the entire community using a systematic process where data is collected regarding all aspects of the community to be able to identify actual and potential health problems. Again, yung pag-assess or pag-gather natin ng information about the entire community on all aspects, while your problem-oriented assessment is focused on a particular aspect of health. In this approach, the nurse collects information with a certain community problem in mind and then proceeds to gather information from the aggregate vulnerable to the problem. So this approach is workable when the nurse is familiar with the community. Pag hindi ka pa familiar, okay, wala ka pa masyadong data regarding sa community, doon ka sa comprehensive needs assessment. Okay? So what are the tools that can be used in community assessment? So data sources are generally grouped into dalawang groups lang meron tayo ng data sources natin. Mapa-primary group or secondary data. So in community health practice, the community itself is a primary source of data. Primary data are the data that have not been gathered before and are collected by the nurse through observation, survey, informant interview, community forum, and focus group discussion. Again, paano kinokollect yung primary data? It's either through survey or observation, informant interview, community forum, and focus group discussion. So, isa-isahin natin yan sila. Diba? We have here observation. A rapid observation of a community may be done through an ocular or windshield survey either by driving or riding a vehicle or walking through it. So, ocular survey, mata-mata, titiningnan mo kung ano yung meron sa community mo, sino-sino yung mga tao doon. Yun ang observation. Now, yung survey, okay, it is time-consuming actually and expensive kasi this may be necessary in gathering data kasi 'di ba a survey is made up of series of question for systematic collection of information from a sample of individuals or families in a community and may be written or oral. So, pwedeng magbigay ka ng mga questionnaires or ini-interview mo each family. So, medyo expensive siya and at the same time, time-consuming yung survey. We have also the informant interview. So, ito siya ay, These are purposeful talks with the key informants or ordinary members of the community. Pag sabihin natin key informants, they consist of formal or informal community leaders or persons of position and influence such as leader in local government, schools, and business. So, pwedeng in-interview mo yung alam mo na, okay, sige, interview ko si chairman. So, that is an informant interview. So, we have community forum, which is an open meeting of the members of the community. So, ito yung pagpupulong-pulong sa barangay at tatanungin mo yung mga members ng sumali sa pulong-pulong na yon, and then dun mo kukunin yung mga data na need mo sa features ng people, sa features ng location mo, or the social system. And lastly is the focus group discussion. So a focus group differs from a community forum in the sense that the focus group is made up of a much smaller, usually 6 to 12 members lang. Pag focus group kasi or FGD, more on maliit na population. So 6 to 10, maximum 12, okay? So pag pag pagpupulong-pulong, from the word pagpupulong-pulong, hindi lang 12 madami, pwedeng umabot ng 20, 30 kung sino yung available. So yun yung pag-collect ng mga primary data. Again, primary data are only the community itself. So paano makakuha ng mga data regarding sa ating community? So pwedeng through observation, through survey, through informant interview, community forum, and focus group discussion. So ito naman yung mga secondary data sources. So from the word secondary, nakuha sa ibang source other than the community. So we have here the registry of vital events. So pwede tayong mag-ask sa mga civil registration office, the health records and reports, lalo na kung may dati namang pumunta doon ng mga nurses or may assigned nurses na doon, gusto mong kumuha ng data. We have also the disease registries, okay? We have the census data. Yun lang. Again, the census data, disease registries. We have the health records and reports and registry of vital events. So, dito sa ating health records and reports, ito yung nakukuha natin dito natin nakukuha yung ating mga, nangyayari, okay? We have what we call the FHSIS, okay? As specified by Executive Order number 352, the Field Health Service Information System or FHSIS is the official recording and reporting system of the Department of Health and is used by the NSCB to generate health statistic. So this FHSIS or this system is an essential tool in monitoring the health status of the population at different levels. It is therefore for a basis for priority setting by the local governments, planning and decision making at different levels, and monitoring and evaluating health program implementation. So, si FHSIS ang kinukuhaan natin mainly ng records natin about the community and also paano din nire-report ng isang community health nurse. So, once na ma-assign ka talaga sa community, itong FHSIS, it needs a lot of time para makagawa ka, okay, makarecord ka. So, the FHSIS version 2 2008 is composed of recording and reporting tools. Records are facility-based, that is, they are kept at the barangay health station or rural health unit or health center and contain a day-to-day account of the activities of the health worker. So, we have here the different recording tools based on the FHSIS. First, we have the individual treatment record. So, from the word individual treatment record, yan yung ating building block of the FHSIS. It is the record that contains the date, the name, address of patient, presenting symptoms. Okay, individual yan siya, tag-isa-isa. Okay? So, puwedeng example, sa isang family, madami nag-check sa'yo, sa isang family sila, ilagay mo sa isang folder, meron ka ng family health record na nila, okay? So, next sa ITR is the target client list or TCLs. So, these are second building block of the FHSIS, and these service records have the following purposes. So, we have to plan or carry out patient care and service delivery, since midwives and nurses use TCLs to monitor target and eligible populations for particular health services. So, yung TCL, if you have mga kakilala ng mga nurses na assign sa community, yung lagi nilang dala-dala na libro, okay? Or pinapakita lagi sa iPacho para kumuha ng salary. O mind you, it's a um prerequisite ang TCL pag kumuha ka ng sweldo once you become a NDP nurse, okay? So, pag wala yung TCL mo, pag wala kang ma-evaluate, may pakita na proof sa sa mga evaluators mo, hindi ka pwedeng ma-hold yung salary mo. Okay? Kasi yung TCLs is divided into different health programs. So, example lang, meron doon prenatal. So, sa prenatal na yon, ando doon yung mga pregnant woman mo, okay, na nagvi-visit sa'yo. Okay? Pag postpartum naman, ando doon yung mga patient na na-cater mo na nanganak, okay? And then next is yung kanyang immunization or yung mga child na immunized below 1 year old. O, ando doon din yung listahan nun. Okay, after that, yung mga nag-family planning methods. Sino yung naggumagamit ng iba't ibang methods ng family planning. Meron din doon nutrition. Sino yung mga batang nabigyan mo ng vitamin A, pregnant woman na nabigyan mo ng vitamin A. Okay? Next is the sick children. Okay, sino yung mga nagkasakit na binigyan mo ng assessment, binigyan mo ng gamot, ano-ano yung mga gamot na binigay mo, ando doon lahat. So, yung listahan yan siya ng mga naging target mo or eligible population. Next, okay, purpose ng ating target client list is to facilitate monitoring and supervision of service delivery activities. Number 3, to report services delivered, thus reducing the need to refer back to the ITRs to accomplish reporting. Kasi po once na may TCL ka, base kasi yung sinusulat mo naman kasi sa TCL mo is the ITR. So, somewhat hindi mo na kailangan magdala pa ng ITR in presenting kung ganito kasi meron ka namang target client list. And lastly is to provide a clinic level database that can be assessed for further study. So, the following are the TCLs maintained in the RHUs and the health center. So, ito yung mga TCLs na nasa health center. The TCL for prenatal care, TCL for postpartum care, yung mga sinabi ko kanina, TCL of under 1-year-old children, TCL for family planning, TCL for sick children. We have also the National Tuberculosis Program TB Register, yung mga patient mo na nagkaroon ng tuberculosis at ano yung mga treatment nila, meron tayong TCL doon, and National Leprosy Control Program Central Registration form. So after the target client list, we have the summary table. This is accomplished by the midwife or the nurses. It is a 12-column table in which columns correspond to the 12 months of the year. Kaya nga summary of the table. So each kumbaga table na may mga tables doon, in 1 year ilan yung patient na na-cater mo for prenatal, for postpartum, for under 1-year-old, for family planning, for sick children. So isa-summarize mo yan siya. And then, hatiin mo pa yan siya per month. On January, ilan. On February, ilan. For sobrang hassle niyan kasi it is part of your annual reports na sinasabit mo yan siya para din na naman makakuha ka ng salary. To tell you, an NDP nurse is more on paperwork. Okay? Kahit bakante ka talaga sa malaking oras na naibibigay sa'yo, para kang masosuffocate din sa dami ng papers na ginagawa. Supposed to be, FHSIS should be in, e-form or sa internet or sa, ano to, sa system ng computer. However, syempre, due to poor resources dito sa Philippines, hindi lahat naman mabigyan ng computer, and at the same time, hindi lahat mabigyan ng magandang internet connection. So, mano-mano tayo dito. Okay? So, next, we have also the monthly consolidation table. So, from the word monthly, so divided yan siya in per months. So, MCT is accomplished by the nurse based on the summary table. It serves as the source document for the quarterly form or output table for the RHU for the health center. So, the reporting forms as enumerated in the FHSIS of manual of operation are the following. Ano to yung mga reporting forms na binibigay or sinasubmit? We have the monthly forms. Okay, we have the quarterly. Pag sabihin natin quarterly, 3 months. Okay? So, January, February, March na output mo. Then, next na naman, April, May, June. Yan. Then, we have here the annual forms. Yan ang mga annual. And then, may kita nyo dito sa inyong libro, it is divided pa from annual form A, okay, annual form 2, annual form 3. So, 'di ba? Sobrang hectic sa party-party sa mga documentations and records talaga when it comes to community. So, sa next secondary resource natin is the disease registry. So, a disease registry is a listing of persons diagnosed with a specific type of disease in a defined population. So, data collected through disease reports or registries serves as a basis for monitoring, decision making, and program management. So, we have also the census data. A census is a periodic governmental enumeration of the population. 'Di ba pag may pumupunta sa inyo na natatanong, "Pero what are Q saya? Ilan yung bata dito? Ilan yung matanda? Ganito, ganyan. Sino yung namatay? Ganito, ganyan." So, parang doon din nagbe-base yung census natin or yung Philippine Statistic Office natin na paano ba nagmo-multiply or ano ba yung nangyayari sa loss at saka pag-multiply ng mga tao dito sa mundo. Okay? So next, let's discuss the methods to present community data. So inshallah, hopefully once you will have your duty, you will have your community presentation. Pag sabihin natin community presentation, pine-present ninyo yung data na na-gather ninyo regarding sa inyong community na napili. So, ito yung mga iba't ibang methods na pwede nating magamit in presenting the community data. So, we have here, di ba, makikita nyo dito sa libro, we have on page 141, it's either based on, bar graph, line graph, pie graph. So, pinapakita nyo dito yung population composition by age and sex. Okay, the total fertility rate, the distribution of nutritional status. So, kung ano yung mga kailangan ng mga i-present na data. So, ilan yung nagkakasakit, ilan yung nagfa-family planning. So, mostly parang fina-follow nyo lang din is the FHSIS report. So, community data are presented to the health team and the members of the community for the following purposes. So, bakit tayo nagpe-present ng data? So, to inform the health team and the members of the community of existing health and health-related conditions in the community in an easily understandable manner. Kasi once naman makikita mo yung graph, okay, mas madami pala yung babae kaysa sa mga lalaki. Okay, madami pala yung nagkakasakit. Tapos pag yung line graph naman makikita ninyo na maiko-compare mo na ilang previous years na dumadami pala yung ganitong mga batang nagkakasakit. So, doon pa lang. So, we have here next is to make members of the community appreciate the significance and relevance of health information to their lives. Another, to solicit broader support and participation in the community health process, to validate findings, to allow a wider perspective in the analysis of data, and to provide a basis for better decision. So depending on the context and the purpose of the presentation, community data may be presented as text, in tables, or in pictorial forms such as maps and graphs. So dito sa box 7.2, page 140, we have the different graphs for presenting community data and their uses. We have the bar graph, line graph, pie chart, and a scatter plot or diagram. So makita nyo rin yung mga pictures nila on page 141. So that's all for your community assessment. Next, after the community assessment or the phase of assessment, we have the diagnosis. So the community diagnosis is the process of determining the health status of the community and the factors responsible for it. The term is applied both to the process of determination and to its findings. It is a quantitative and qualitative description of the health of citizens and the factors that influence their health. It allows identification of problems and areas of improvement, thereby stimulating action. So in this phase, the health worker makes a judgment. So gumagawa tayo ng judgment about the community's health status, their resources and health action potential, and also the likelihood that the community will act to meet health needs or resolve health problems. So, yan ang ating community diagnosis. So, the community diagnosis, okay, there are several schemes that the nurse may choose from in stating the community diagnosis. So, example, pwedeng based sa NANDA, okay, kung ano man yung, pero kung hindi man kaya, you can make your own. So, nursing diagnostic levels, although focused more on individual rather than community responses to health conditions. So, meron din tayo nung kay inadopt ni Schuster and Guppinger or the Omaha System for Community Diagnosis. Yung kay Schuster and Guppinger, they propose a practical adaptation of format of nursing diagnosis for population groups previously presented by Green and Slade. So meron siyang three-part statement which consists of first, okay, nagsa-start yung nursing diagnosis with the health risk or specific problem to which the community is exposed. The second statement is the specific aggregate or community with whom the nurse will be working to deal with the risk or problem. And lastly is the related factors that influence how the community will respond to the health risk or problem. So, we have here dito sa box 7.3 a sample of the application ng three-part statement na sinasabi ni Schuster and Guppinger. So, we have also the Omaha system. So, itong Omaha system is initially designed for clients in a community setting. So, it has been used as a framework for the care of individuals, families, and communities by nurses, nursing educators, physicians, and other healthcare providers. So, it is a comprehensive and research-based classification system for client problems that exist in the public domain, meaning it is not held under copyright. So the classification system has three components. So itong classification system na to may tatlong components. So na ginagamit or pinagsasama-sama. So we have the problems classification scheme, an intervention scheme, and a problem rating for outcome. So the first component of the Omaha classification system is a problem classification scheme. So ano yung pwede nating ma-identify na mga problem? So it's either we have 4 levels of areas of concern. So we have the first and foremost general level of classification is composed of 4 domain. We have the environmental, psychosocial, physiological, or health related. Yan yung first level. The second level consists of problems of areas under the 4 domains. Okay, and the third level, the problem or area of concern, which is classified according to two sets of qualifier. So, dito sa box 7.4, makikita nyo dito yung UMAHA system, the domains and problems of the problem classification scheme. Pag sabihin nating environmental domain, yan yung material resources and physical surroundings. Pag sabihin naman nating psychosocial domain, the patterns of behavior, emotion, communication. Pag sabihin natin physiological domain, we have the function and processes. And lastly, we have the health-related behavior domain, which is the pattern of activity that maintain or promote wellness. Okay? So, yun yung ating OMAHA system for community diagnosis. So, after community diagnosis, let's go with the planning phase. So, as in other fields of nursing practice, planning for community health interventions is based on the findings during assessment and diagnosis and a formulated nursing diagnosis. So, planning is a logical process of decision making to determine which of the identified health concern requires more immediate consideration. So, doon tayo din gumagawa ng priority setting. So, hindi lang, di ba, madami naman tayong pwedeng ma-identify na problem. So, unahin muna natin yung pinakamalala, then tsaka tayo mag later on mag-focus on the less na hindi kailangan. Okay? So, priority setting is very important. Okay? So, paano ba tayo, ano to, mag-implement kung hindi tayo nagpa-priority setting. Kumbaga, walang organization ng mga health interventions ang binibigay mo sa community pag hindi mo napa-prioritize yung lahat ng mga needs ng inyong patient. So the World Health Organization has suggested the following criteria to decide on a community health concern for intervention. So we have the different criteria na masasabi natin na this is a para masabi ano to? Para maka-identify tayo ng community health concern. First is the significance of the problem. It is based on the number of people in the community affected by the problem or condition. So, gaano ba ka-significant? Baka marami yung affected na tao. Next is the level of community awareness. Aware ba sila na this is a health major concern? Okay. Next is the ability to reduce risk. So, this is the, it refers to the availability of expertise among health team and community itself. So, kaya ba nila? Next is the cost of reducing risk. Kaya ba nilang ma-determine? Kaya ba nilang ma-consider or ma-achieve yung pag-reduce ng risk kasi kaya ba ng mga resources nila. Next is the ability to identify the target population. This is for the intervention, a matter of availability of data sources. And lastly is the availability of resources to intervene in the reduction of risk. So, for a realistic and useful outcome, the priority setting process requires the joint effort of the community, the nurse, and other stakeholders such as other members of the health team. Pag kasi hindi ma-prioritized, wala din, 'di ba? So the group makes a list of identified community health problems or conditions. Each of the identified health problems is treated separately according to a set of criteria agreed upon by the group, such as those suggested by the World Health Organization. As suggested by Schuster and Gupinger, the following steps are carried out. So paano ba tayo magsiset ng priority. So from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, the members give each criterion a weight based on their perception of its degree of importance in solving the problem. The next, from a scale 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, each member rates the criteria in terms of likelihood of the group being able to influence or change the situation. Number 3, collate the weights from step 1 and step 2. And and then isusulat mo yan siya, okay? Kukulate mo yan siya para makita ng ibang members na, ganito pala mas marami. And then, compute the total priority score. score. So example lang na mga ginagawa ni based kay Schuster and Gupinger, we have dito sa libro, we have the table 7.1, 7.2, okay, 7.3, yung mga criteria na pwede natin gamitin, and then depende sa example lang. So itatali-tali mo yan siya, and then masasabi mo na, okay, ito yung overall na problem nila. So dito sa 7.3 na table, andi dito yung computation of the problem priority score. Okay? Then the priority score of the problem is calculated by adding the products obtained in step 4. Okay. So, after ma-priority set up, okay, or may na-set nyo na kung sino yung priority, you will formulate now goals and objectives. So, paano yung gusto mong mangyari? Ano yung gusto mong maging outcome ng inyong health services. And then deciding on community interventions. Kasi syempre, pag may goal and objective ka la, alam mo na kung saan patungo yung gusto mong mangyari. So dahil doon, okay, ano yung mga gagawin natin na mga interventions para ma-achieve natin yung goal at objectives natin. So we have here box 7.1, the sample of goal and objectives for a community health plan. So basahin nyo yan siya, madami, andyan yung mga problem, andyan yung goal and objectives na gusto niyang mangyari. Sample lang yan siya para makita mo, ganito pala yung paggawa ng mga mga goals and objectives na maganda para sa community. So, after nung planning phase, which is sa planning, ando doon yung priority setting, the formulating goals and objectives, and deciding on community interventions, we will now implement, okay? Kung ano yung mga na-identify natin na community health intervention. So, this is often referred as the action phase. So, implementation is the most exciting phase for most health workers kasi syempre, ini-implement mo na yung mga naisip mong solusyon sa problema ng inyong community. So aside from being able to deal with the recognized priority health concern, the entire process is intended to enhance the community's capability in dealing with common health problems or conditions. So the nurse's role, therefore, may be to facilitate the process rather than directly implement the planned intervention. So this requires a common understanding of the goals of the team. Okay, kasi syempre you work with your community, okay? So, kailangan alam ng community mo saan ka patungo. Okay? Kasi sila na kasi mostly yung gumagawa. And doon ka lang to supervise kung ano yung mga dapat nilang gawin. Okay? And after the implementation, we have the evaluation. So, the evaluation approaches may be directed towards the structure, okay, process, or outcome. Pag sabihin natin structure evaluation, it involves looking into the manpower and physical resources of the agency responsible for community health interventions. Pag sabihin naman natin process evaluation, it is the examining of the manner by which the assessment, diagnosis, planning, implementation, and evaluation were undertaken. And lastly, pag sabihin naman nating outcome evaluation, it is determining the degree of attainment of goals and objectives. So, ongoing evaluation or monitoring is done during implementation to provide feedback on compliance to the plan as well as on need for changes in the plan to improve the processes and outcomes of intervention. So, standards of evaluation. So, we have different standards for evaluation. The basis for a good evaluation are its utility, feasibility, propriety, and accuracy. Pag sabihin natin utility, it is the value of the evaluation in terms of the usefulness of the result. So, may nagawa ba? Okay, ano naging useful ba siya sa community? The evaluation of the community health interventions will be great use to the community health group, which includes the nurse, other members of the health team, and the community. Pag sabihin naman nating feasibility, it answers the questions of whether the plan for evaluation is doable or not, considering available resources. Pag sabihin natin propriety, it involves ethical and legal matters, which is respect for the worth and dignity of the participants, and the data collection should be given into consideration. And lastly, for accuracy, it refers to the validity and reliability of the results of your evaluation. So, accurate evaluations begins with accurate documentation. Pag hindi accurate yung documentation mo, hindi magiging accurate yung evaluation na nakuha mo with regards sa kung ano man yung na-implement ninyo. Again, evaluation is an ongoing process yan siya. So, pwedeng during evaluation, parang pwede nating tawagin na yung evaluation is a reassessment. Okay? And at the same time, doon sa evaluation na yun, pwede mong tanggalin na yung hindi effective at palitan, okay? Or i-continue lang yung mga magagandang nagawa mo. Okay? Para mas ma-achieve mo pa yung goal and objectives mo. Okay? So, summary ng mga na-discuss natin. So, using the nursing process in dealing with community health needs requires that the nurse works with the community as an equal partner. Again, hindi nakadepende sa'yo. Paulit-ulit kong sinasabi sa inyo, hindi dapat maging dependent sa inyo yung mga community members. They should work with you. Okay? Not na sila yung kumbaga naka-base sila sa'yo kasi hindi nila magagawa to, no. Kasi hindi mo din ma-achieve yung goal mo kung isa lang talaga yung nagtatrabaho. Remember, you have a lot of clients when you go to community, not just one, but depending on the population that you have in the community. Unlike when you are in a hospital, you have only one patient. Okay, you are not focused on maintaining the health of the family of that patient because the only sick is the patient, not the family. Okay, you may be there to support the family, however, you will not there to promote any. Okay, kasi ang gusto natin doon is to cure the patient, to increase the well-being of the patient, and then for her or him to be ready to be functional in the community pag bumalik na siya ulit sa kung saan siya nang galing. Okay? So, being a community health nurse is not really easy. As I've discussed, siguro naman yung pag-implement ng nursing process lang in a community setup is really exhausting and at the same time very challenging on the part of the nurse kasi hindi lang nag-iisa yung resources mo ng data. Okay, ang dami-dami mong kailangang puntahan, ang dami-dami mong kailangan kuhaan ng mga data. Pwedeng yung makuha mo na data hindi reliable kasi depende kung ano man yung nagdedepende pa rin 'di ba? Kung gaano ka reliable talaga yung pinanggalingan. What if rumor lang, lalo na pag sa community, mostly, madami sa kanila yung mga chismoso, kung ano-ano na lang yung mga pinagsasabi. So, sobrang hirap yan siya. It's really challenging. It's exciting, okay? Based on my experience as a community health nurse, it's really exciting na you do the job and at the same time, hindi siya nakaka-bored. Bakit? Kasi you meet different people and different people din yung nagtatest ng patients mo. Unlike pag sa hospital, iisa lang. Okay, kung sino-sino lang yung pasyente mo, sila lang din. Kung sino-sino lang din yung ano to, significant others ng patient mo, sila-sila din yung nakakausap mo. Sa community, people come and goes Pwedeng yung patient na kausap mo kanina namatay dahil sa sakit and then yung may darating na bago kasi from womb to tomb tayo na process O yung mga patient mo doon, pwedeng yung bagong panganak or yung mamamatay na. Okay? So I hope you have learned a lot from this discussion. It's really important that you know how to implement the nursing process in the community. Again, ang difference talaga is the context or the setting, or where will you apply the yun yung pinaka-main ba, pero may mga iba't iba pang, features na pinagkakaiba ng nursing process in the community setup or community care and also in the client-centered na nakasanayan natin na nursing process. Okay? So, if you have clarifications, questions regarding the topics that I have discussed, pwede nyo akong i-PM. Okay? Pag wala naman, just read your books para mas maintindihan. You have all the resources. Okay? So, I think naman mostly sa inyo or ay lahat ata nakakuha ng libro. So, maganda na every now and then, nasa-scan nyo yan siya for your reference. Do not stop in learning. Hindi nasabi na kesyo higher level na kayo, hindi na kayo mag-aaral. Okay? So, thank you for watching or listening to this video or audio recording. So, have a nice day.